A lot to unpack now with CTV News U.S. political analyst Eric Ham. Eric, let's start with that whole question of legality, the legality of this operation. You have a head of state of a sovereign nation snatched and taken to the U.S. Legal or not?
In a word, no, it's not. And I think this is something that the judge is going to have to even decide if this case goes to trial, given the fact that it's still a violation of international law.
Okay. That aside, you know, there are all these issues. Donald Trump is saying, you know, the U.S. will run everything in Venezuela. He's using the word, we will fix it. What's the reality of what that actually means? And talk to us also about, would American troops be involved?
That's a really good question, because even when going back to this issue of legality, what we saw was a military invasion that now the administration is trying to dress up as a law enforcement issue. Now you have boots on the ground and the United States taking control of vast oil resources to now go into nation building. But that's going to be very difficult, because we know the administration and when they came into office actually eliminated the key agency that would actually help stand up and run the country, the U.S. Agency for International Development. So they don't have, the United States, the infrastructure to be able to begin the process of putting key tools in place to be able to ensure that Venezuela is run as an independent and sovereign nation.
So a lot of talk at this point, but nothing, as far as we know, yet in place. In the meantime, Eric, Donald Trump is issuing threats against other sovereign nations, and you have to wonder how all of this is being read by China and Russia. Most curious.
Yeah, and of course, they're watching this play out. And what we saw today not only emboldens Russia and Ukraine, but more importantly, China with Taiwan. Even the U.S. military believes that China will actually look to take Taiwan as early as 2027. That timeline could actually move up now that we see President Donald Trump unilaterally doing much of what he has condemned other nations like Putin and China for actually thinking of doing.
And you also mentioned when we were chatting earlier, there could be implications for Canada. Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. In fact, now that Donald Trump has an iron grip on the largest oil reserves in the world, Canada, which supplies the United States with oil very similar to Venezuela, could now be moved out of the process. And given the fact that we know CUSMA negotiations are coming up very soon, President Donald Trump, who has already threatened to walk away from those negotiations, now that he's got vast natural resources and on the march for more, could even now more so walk away from that agreement, leaving a gaping hole for Canadian oil producers.
Okay, Eric, thank you.